These old cow punching jobs come and go like breezes through the day. Keeping house in a bedroll, it ain't easy on buckaroo pay. Hard times come plenty between the grande and the medicine line. Burning your candle at both ends on Cowboy Standard Time. And I've been dead broke in Denver, busted up in Billings, and out of my mind in Santa Fe. I rolled on through Tucson, got laid low in Elko, but I just can't seem to change my ways, and I got pocket change left for hell to pay.
Hello, my name is Alexel. I'm a trainer, riding trainer. I'm giving clinics, or I give clinics all over Europe the whole year. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of riders from basic to advanced level there. And I think it's important for every rider, and especially for trainers, to know a little bit of basics about biomechanics of the horse, so we can teach the riders in a way that the horse stays healthy through his whole life and is able to perform like we want a horse to perform. Okay. My name is Marlene, one of our trainees. She has been here for 4 weeks, training with her own horse. This is Jumani, and Jumani is here to show us a little bit, or be kind of a model, so we can show you a little bit how we want to have a horse carry the rider's weight healthfully. So, usually if you have a normal horse which is healthful, has no problems, and you ride it out in the pasture or in the forest on a pretty long rein, and you go in different speeds, different rounds, then for the most horses it's no big deal, and they can be like 24, still healthful, no problem. But if you have a horse which has some health problems in his body, or if you want to train your horse to higher levels, like advanced cow work, advanced dressage styles, or anything like that, then it's up to you, because you are responsible for taking care of the horse's health and training the horse so it can carry you hopefully as long as it can. So it gets also 25, maybe 30, and it's still healthful. So how can we train that? When we look at that horse, let's say it would be a young horse, it's not really, but if it would be a young horse, then it's absolutely okay when we did some groundwork and we put a bit or snaffle bit or a hackamore on it and a saddle on top. We go out, we go long lines, we don't do any small circles and stuff like that, and the horse can just learn as a rider on the back and find his own rhythm. But then we come to a point, and well, like we said, we would like to do more advanced work. Like some of you may be roping, cow work, some of you may be at some day piaffe passage, terre-à-terre, or whatever. Then you have to take care that the horse can really do that without ruining his own body. So, when we look at the horse, we have the cervical spine here in the front, which goes here, goes not here, it goes down here, and is connected with the cervical-thoracic connection to the thoracic spine, which is here. And our main goal in the beginning, or also during educating the horse, is making the horse lifting his back. But what does that mean? A lot of horses are lifting their backs, but the back is a pretty long area in the horse. The back starts here and you can say it goes till here. You can even put the butt in the back, and then it goes till here. But where we want to make the horse lifting the back. A lot of horses, or some horses, have the idea to lift the back here. Then we have a lot of weight on the forelegs of the horse. Our goal is to teach the horse to lift the back here, in the area of the withers. Because down under the withers is that CTE, cervico-thoracic connection, what we talk about. I hope it's the same word in English. And the horse is a little bit different than human, so we don't have a bone connection between the shoulder blade and the rib cage of the horse. If you look at the horse, we have some muscles. We say it's the thoracic muscle sling, and these muscles are used to lift the rib cage here and lift the withers. The main muscle, the main important muscle for you is the serratus muscle. It's a pretty big muscle, or it can be a pretty big muscle if you really train it. And you can imagine it like a little bit a triangle. It goes from here, under the shoulder blade, and from there it goes here. So it's like a triangle. So there and there. And when we train, and we need to train that muscle because the horse needs that muscle. This is the muscle which makes the horse able to really move the shoulders and also lift the rib cage. So the horse is not anymore like that, like I'm standing normally. The horse is then more like that. It looks proud and it can really carry the weight. So why do we do that? Because when we have a horse like this, how tall is that horse? 150. So now the horse is 150. When we now put a saddle on the back and we put Marlene on the back, Marlene is not a heavy rider, but we put a man or a girl on the back, and the horse is probably like 148, maybe 147, because it will just drop this rib cage and hanging a little bit like this into the muscles. So our first goal is to train the horse to go back to 1.50 meters. That would be nice. And if you go further in education, and if you are really good in what you are doing, then at one point maybe you can even make the horse 1.51 meters, maybe even 1.52 meters. That's named a lift. So the horse is lifting here in the withers area. And you will feel that when you sit in the saddle, that it's not like you're riding the horse and you have to feel like this. It's more like you're riding the horse and you feel like this. And this is what we say when the horse gets light in the front quarters or in the forehand. A lot of people think that in the education of the horse shifts the weight from the front to the back. So they say, for example, in the beginning, they have 60% of the weight on the forelegs and 40% of the weight on the hind legs. And when the horse is well educated, then at the end we have maybe 60% of the weight of the hind legs and just 40% of the weight of the front legs. It's not true, it's proof. They did it in the Renaissance, and also the University in Vienna did some tests about that. It's when there is a weight shift, a real weight shift, then it's about like 2 or 3%. It's not really much. Now you would say, okay, but I can feel it. The horse is carrying with the hind legs and it's really soft like a feather in the front legs and it's really feathering and all that stuff. Yes, it does, and it gives you the feeling, but it's not really shifting the weight. What you feel is that the horse is lifting here, like this, and it's really stretching upward all that structures. And then the horse has the ability, because the muscles here are really working, to use that muscles as kind of a shock absorber. So in the beginning you can think the whole rib cage is hanging down, and now you're riding and you feel bonk, 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 bonk. Because every step of the horse, it's like a hard step you can feel. When the horse is now able to train that, or when you are able to train that muscles, and the horse is going further in the education, and it's lifting the rib cage from the muscles, and then those muscles, later even the fascia, but in the beginning the muscles, can really shock absorbing these steps and this weight. And this is what you can feel then in the saddle. And this big muscle here is able to absorb the shocks. These small joints here are not. So when you're cantering a horse, like really forward cantering, and you have not trained the horse, there are some studies about you have around 1 to 2 tons, like 2,000 kilos of weight in the canter on one leg. At a special time, you have just one leg on the ground, and then you have all that weight on that small joints. Which, of course, when you look at that joints and you think about a really big car that's around the same weight, or about the same weight, like that 2,000 kilos, it's not really helpful. But if the horse is lifting here, then those big muscles like here, and you can see that in training, when the horse is trained really well, it's almost an even surface here from the muscles. And you will have a muscle here, which is a little bit like a pouch on a saddle. When these muscles are carrying the weight, those muscles can do that. They can carry, or they can shock absorbing this enormous amount of power. And that's what we are looking for. I will show you later in the saddle how we can train that. But let's go a little bit back on those vertebrae. We had that point, the cervical-thoracic connection. And this is a pretty tricky point because the horse can put it down, can put it up. And we have to take care that the horse is really using it in a way what we need for the collection, so lifting it up. So when we go back on that spine, and we go to the lumbar area, and the connection from the lumbar area to the sacrum is the lumbosacral joint. It's a really small joint, and the horse needs it. All of you have seen that when the horse is peeing, or when the horse is cantering. The horse must be able to really bring his hindquarters forward, dropping the hip there a little bit, or tilting the hip, and then stepping on the ground and pushing himself forward again. So, when the horse is peeing and when the horse is cantering and bringing the hindquarters forward, this joint has to open a little bit. But when the horse is really carrying the weight with the hind legs or pushing, in the moment when the horse is really pushing, then we want to have this joint closed, please. So, it's not a sign of collection. I don't do it because it's not helpful. When the horse is really rotating his pelvis like that. I can show it to you. We don't want this. This is not helpful. So, it's the same like you guys. When you try to carry something really heavy from the ground, usually I do it like that, I do it like this. When you would show that to a physiotherapist, he would tell you, no, it's not really good for your back. Do it like, be straight here, do it like that. It looks stupid, but it's more helpful. Same with the horse. In the moment when the horse is really carrying weight and when the horse is pushing with the hind legs, then we want to have this joint closed. Also, when we are talking about collection, we are always talking about bending the haunches. So we want to have smaller angles here from the joints. Okay? So when you have the hip of the horse, and you have the Oberschenkel in German, this bone, I don't know in English, sorry. And you have an angle, for example, like this, and the horse would now tilt his pelvis like this, and we would open that angle, so it would get bigger, not smaller. If you want to have that smaller now, here was neutral, now it's smaller. So you can imagine the horse has to step with his hind legs behind his ears, and it would just flip over. So these are the critical points in the education of the horse: lumbosacral connection or lumbosacral joint, and cervico-thoracic connection between the cervical spine and the thoracic spine. How we can do that, I will show you at least in basic application on my horse later in the next video. And I will also tell you in the riding video a little bit about the rotation of the spine, especially of the thoracic spine, and also how we can get the spine centered so the horse can really carry us healthfully. Marlene, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so do I have to do something with the head of the horse when I'm riding, or does it matter?
Yes. That's a pretty common question, and usually people are asking for a special position of the head of the horse. Where do you want a head of the horse? It really depends what horse you have. If you have a Lusitano stallion, or if you have a quarter horse, which maybe is even higher on the back. So what I always tell people, the main goal is in collection and also in riding, that the horse is lengthening his top line. So we want to have a long top line, but we don't want to have a long top line forward, downward. So a good position for this horse, if you would start this horse, it's already ridden, but if it would be a young horse and it's already ridden, then a good headset would be a little bit, maybe like that. I always tell the people, you can put the ball here, and when I'm riding, I always want to have the ball rolling to my saddle. I don't care for the speed, which speed the ball rolls to my saddle, but I would like to have the ball rolling to my saddle. So in the beginning, when we start riding the horse, from the mouth of the horse, it should be on this level. And when we go further in education, it's always to see, or if you want to see it, it's good if the horse is like from the mouth, the same height like his hip joint. Then you are really safe. We have to take care that we don't lift the horses too high, because if we really lift them high with our hands, then the CTU, which we talked about the last minutes, or which we talked about, goes down. And then we are contracting the cervical spine to the thoracic spine, and we have pressure here, and it's not good for the horse, and the horse cannot really lift here. But we also don't want the horse to bring the head really low, because it does not really lift the withers, and we have a lot of weight which goes forward, downward. So we want to have the neck in a neutral position, like this. And then we start educating the horse, we start lifting the withers and all that stuff, and what we can see is that then the neck also lifts. But this part is really, really important, and this part shows us just a little bit from the outside, when we are not sitting on the horse and we can like feel it, then this part shows us a little bit what happens here. Yeah? So it's normal that we are asking about that, because everybody of us is working with their hands and with their eyes, or almost everybody except you're a football star. So we are always focused to what happens in front of us. We are looking on the head, we are doing something with our hands. Sometimes it would be much better to have eyes on our butt, so we could really look and feel what happens here, because this is the really important part of the horse. This is the part we really want to train, we really want to do the gymnastic and all that stuff, but I will try to show you that later on horseback. Any more questions? No. What is also a common problem in riding is that when we look what happens in front of us, we are always trying to put the head around and bending the neck of the horse. And then we're sitting on horseback and people are watching us. Wow, this horse is nicely bent. No, it's not. Because when we really bend that part of the horse and we make it flexible, then the thoracic spine is rotating to the outside. It's rotating the wrong way. And then we don't have a correct bend in the horse. So as soon as we put the head like more than this line, this part will rotate downwards outside. It sits us also on the outside seat, which is not correct. So we don't really have to train the flexibility of the neck of the horse, because every horse is able to pick up a fly here. It's pretty easy for the horse. We don't have to train that. So we have to train this part, and we have even more to stabilize this part of the horse. Of course, we want to bend the horse here in the atlas axis. In German we have a special word, it's named Stellung. There is no word in English, some people say Stellung. But this happens just here, atlas axis. It does not happen here. And a lot of horses are pretty good at doing nothing here, doing a lot of bending here in that area, but this is not really helpful in educating the horses, and it even brings the horses out of balance. So we have to take care about this. Pretty short about the spine of the horse, because we don't have so much time. When we bend the horse, and we have to bend the horse to really make the spine flexible, because every horse is used to bend his spine to one direction. It's normal. You are left-handed or right-handed. I'm right-handed, so it's normal that we do things on one side better, and on the other side, yeah, maybe okay, but maybe we are not even able to do this. So we have to make the spine movable, and in a correct bend, the processus spinosus are rotating to the inside. They are not fixed there, of course, they are moving all the time, but when the horses, let's say, bend to the left, like this, good. Then all the processus spinosus are tilting or rotating a little bit to the inside and make a move more like this. When they are centered, they are here, or they can also move to the outside. And when you bring the head too much around, and in this part there are no processus spinosus, but also the vertebrae can do it, rotating like this. And in this part, they are rotating the other way around. And this, and then you have pressure here in the CTU, what we don't want, and the horse is also not able to lift that CTU. There is one vertebra, so we have it all together. It's the atlas. It's the only vertebra which does not rotate to the inside in a correct bend. It rotates a tiny little bit to the outside and shifts a little bit to the outside. We can say it's a punctum fixum, where the rest of the vertebra is attached, and the rest of the vertebra is rotating in the direction we are bending the horse. But we can talk about that a little bit more in details on horseback, so hopefully I can show you a little bit on Thales.